But I feel like our business has been having a bit of an identity crisis for quite a long time. I have not felt happy in my business. I don't know what I'm doing, and that's what I want. I want my business to work for me. I don't want to work for my business. So, this is what I'm thinking. So this is a little bit of a different sort of video. This felt like a much longer conversation that probably would have been too long for our usual studio vlogs. Our business is evolving. I think that's the only way I can think to describe it. And I thought that would probably make a good topic for one of these kind of chatty videos. If you aren't aware, my name is Kiara. My company is called Hubinu, and we turned 13 this year in April because I started the business when I was pregnant with my daughter. I already had our son, Sebastian. He was about 3.5 when Evie was born, and I don't know, I think I was feeling at the time I wanted to be able to spend more time with the kids. I was not really enjoying my job anymore. I wanted to kind of be able to, set my own kind of working schedule, if you like. And I wanted to be creative in my own right, and create things that I was interested in and felt passionate about. So I started the business. And I think businesses do change and evolve a lot over the course of their life. And that's definitely been the case for us. So when the business started, we were making acrylic jewellery. Acrylic jewellery that were based on characters that I had created. So originally our company was called Hubinu World because it was this world of characters. And I would create the characters and the drawings. It was based around food or around animals, and David would write little character profiles to go with them. And we got accepted onto Not on the High Street. And I've done a whole separate video about our journey on Not on the High Street and how we grew and how we scaled up on there. And they were certainly, I think certainly being on Not on the High Street helped our business to grow, no doubt about it. But I would say after about the first year, or nearly a year, or our first Christmas with Not on the High Street, I realised that the products that we were creating were probably only ever going to reach a certain audience. And it's not that they weren't good, but they were very much considered to be children's jewellery, and that wasn't really what I'd intended them for. Like, I would wear this. I created the jewellery because it's the sort of thing that I would wear. And we also got them stocked in Liberty's in London, a huge prestigious department store. And they also considered them to be children's jewellery, which was fine. But I realised that there was going to be a limitation, and the business would only ever grow so far if we kept that to our product range. So Not on the High Street were very big on personalised items, so we started to do phone cases and compact mirrors and anything else basically that we could personalise. And then one day, I think it was about 2 years in, I created a pet tag for our dog because I didn't want him to have a boring metal pet tag. That just was not my vibe at all. So I created this pet tag for him using a sausage dog illustration that I had drawn, even though he was not a sausage dog. And the first Hubinu pet tag was born. We uploaded it to Not on the High Street, and from there it just took off. And from that point on, we very much focused our business on pets. But I feel like our business has been having a bit of an identity crisis for quite a long time, in the same sense that I feel like I am having a bit of an identity crisis as well. I can't decide if I'm an artist, if I'm a business owner, or a creative. I don't know what I'm doing. And all I know is that for about the last 3 or so years, I have not felt happy in my business. I have not felt passionate about my business. I love having a business. I'm interested in how the business works and why things sell. That's always the bit I've been really interested in. When I grew up, when I was a kid, like my favourite toy were those little petite post offices and offices, and I used to love watching films about people that worked in an office or they ran a business. So I know that's what's in me. But I felt so disconnected from my business. And I think that has definitely had an impact. I think I probably took my eye off the ball. I probably like flitted from one, like, oh, maybe this will help, maybe we should do this, maybe we should do that, maybe we should, changing my mind constantly and then changing it back again because I don't know what direction to take things in. And we also had almost like a split personality. So we've got our own website, which is just pet stuff really. We've got Etsy, which again, mostly pets. And then on Not the High Street, because they have a different customer base, we've got all the pet products. But then we've got lots of like photo gifts because I love photos and creating memories and all of that kind of stuff. So we had things like photo magnets and frames with photo strips in them and all these different things. So it felt very much like we were split across the 3 different platforms without any kind of core of like who we were. And I think it was last year, we did the productivity program, which I'm doing again now. I'll put a link in the comments. You can apply for it. It's an application process, but it's definitely well worth doing, and it's completely free. And through this process, one of the board members, because you are given board members, and one of the board members was a branding expert, and she asked us, like, okay, I feel like you need to have a clear mission statement and idea of what your company is. And she was asking questions like, you know, what's the purpose of your business? And what's your mission statement? I had no idea. I found that exercise so hard, like so much harder than it should have been. And so at that point we were like, and I was saying, well, you know, I kind of want to offer more than pet products. I feel like by just offering pet tags, we're kind of limiting ourselves because we've sort of almost hit the ceiling of what we can achieve with the budget that we have in terms of reaching customers. We've done all the Google ads, the Facebook ads, Instagram, you know, all of that stuff. And the problem is, a pet tag is a legal requirement. You have to have one. If your dog is not wearing a tag, it's a £5,000 fine. A lot of people don't know that. But once you buy a pet tag from us, unless you've got lots of dogs or you like your dog to have a different tag for every harness that they wear, you only need to buy one. And you probably don't need to change it for another year, couple of years, which then means we're constantly having to reach new customers all the time, which is expensive. And our pet tags are not an expensive item. They're around about £12 now. And obviously, to make a decent amount of money, to cover wages and all the overheads that we had to sell a lot of pet tags. At Christmas, our business took on a whole different identity. And we sold thousands of pounds worth of Christmas decorations. Wooden shapes of Christmas dogs, dogs on stars and bauble decorations. We did a few other like types of like photo decoration, things like that, but mostly it was pets. And we would make the bulk of our money at Christmas. So again, it just kind of felt like we didn't really know what direction to take. I wanted to feel passionate about the business, but I wasn't sure how to do it. So we were talking about lifestyle products. We tried to bring in lifestyle products. We did a bit of a rebrand. I created a different logo. We did our brand colours, and that was all great. And we were kind of like, you know, who knew your pets, your passions, you know. And I kind of wanted to offer products to help support people with their hobbies. But again, it's all going down the personalised route, you know, like crochet bags with people's names on and things like that. And they ticked over, but they didn't really take off. So, and we kind of just ended up going, right, okay, we need to streamline again because we're holding too many different products and we can't afford it. And obviously, if you've been watching our vlog for a while, you know the story. We had to give up the industrial unit that we've been in for 8 years. And Phoebe, the girl who had worked for us since she was 19, left for another job because there just wasn't enough work. There wasn't enough work for 3 people. And David and I are struggling to adapt. We're struggling to adapt because things have been difficult for a long time. And it's hard. It's hard when you're working hard, but you're not really seeing any reward for that. And I've mentioned before, like David's obviously struggles with his mental health. He's had depression for a very long time. He had a very successful career, and then that sort of ended, and he was very young. So that's a very hard thing to deal with. And I think in the last few years, I believe I've been perimenopausal. So I've struggled a lot with hormones and low mood, and that's something I've never encountered before. So it's been a lot. There's been an awful lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, an awful lot. So it's been difficult because we're kind of just going through the motions, and I desperately want to feel passionate, and I desperately want to save the business, but I also want to build something or evolve the business. That is the right word, I think. I want to evolve the business into something that works for us. And creating personalized products is very, very time consuming. So I'm trying to think like a way around this, and I've been doing lots and lots of thinking. And doing the vlogs has helped as well. It's been interesting to kind of look back on my week each week. It kind of helps me to reflect on how the week's gone when I'm editing stuff and then watching it back. So I've been talking to David, and I've been wondering about a direction to take, and I've been thinking about the things that are important to me. One of the things that is really important to me is mental health and self-care, which is ironic because I'm not very good at looking after my own. I have lots of creative hobbies, which I find are a good way for me to help support my mental health. I don't make enough time to do them. And I think that's one of the reasons why I kind of need to get the business under control so that I have time to do those things. Like even just last week, doing a little bit of drawing on the iPad, oh my God, I felt so much better for being creative. So this is what I'm thinking. I want to evolve Who Be New. The great thing about the name is it can be anything it wants to be. And about 2 years ago, I started like a very small sort of a sister company called R&J Paper Co. Because I love stationery, I always have. And I really wanted my own stationery brand. And we've got a show coming up. We're doing Stationery Fest as R&J. And I'm excited about that. And I'm already thinking about products and things that we could create. But I am also realistic in that the conversation I had with my mentor from the productivity program, she said, you're doing too much and you're now trying to start another business. You need to focus on one thing. And I've been thinking about that a lot. And I thought she's right. And I also worry that if I narrow into stationery, is it going to be enough for what we need, obviously, to, pay for everything? And I thought she's right. Trying to manage multiple Instagrams, multiple TikTok accounts, it's too much. So here's what I'm thinking. I want to evolve Who Be New into a brand that is all about self-care and making time for yourself, which means there would be pivotal product points. So we would still keep the pet tags because I believe that having a dog and walking your dog is good for your mental health. That it comes under that umbrella of self-care. Sometimes, we don't have a dog at the moment. Our dog passed away a few years ago now, but I'm hoping that we will get one this year. A dog is so important for mental health, or pets in general are so important for self-care and mental health. So it fits within that. And so we keep the pet products, but we'll really, really strip them back to just, a handful. And I feel like journaling, junk journaling, scrapbooking, bullet journaling, all of that, which would encompass stationery, is another element of self-care. And then I think crafting is another. So whether that's embroidery, cross stitch, paper crafting, that kind of thing, that's another element. And then I may also introduce elements. So like reading. I think reading is another great self-care. So, and sort of like, cozy living. So that could involve things like candles and, maybe scents and stuff like that. So I feel like with that in mind, I can create a brand identity and a purpose and a mission statement that I can really get behind and really believe in. It also now allows me, hopefully, to be able to cover one of my other passions, which is supporting small businesses. So I don't want to be making all these products myself. That would be too much. I would like to make some products and sell some of our own designs and products, but what would be amazing is if I could then stock other small businesses that aligned with the brand and this sort of self-care direction. As long as I could make the numbers work, because we are VAT registered, which means that if we sell, I don't know, a candle for 20 quid, I'm paying £4 in VAT. So I'm only taking home £16. And then I've got to pay, if it's on Shopify, the commission is tiny, so that's fine, it's negligible. But then I've got to post it. So like all of these things, I need to be aware of this, and the margins need to be decent enough. And also, I don't want to get into that same, like, I'm spending loads of money, I've got stock sitting on shelves, nothing's selling. So these are the factors. So I've got obviously the positive sides where I think, passionate about the business again, a purpose that is meaningful. But then the negatives are, I need to look at it and make sure that we can afford to stock those products, we can afford to hold products, and that we're not going to be stuck with products that don't sell or aren't selling. So those are the elements I need to think. Long-term dream, like 5-10 years down the line, love the idea of having a shop where with all of these things in it. But I don't think now is definitely not the right time, economy-wise. But maybe when I'm a bit older, that would be a nice dream to have. So this is where I'm at with my headspace. So at the moment, I am very much focusing on making the business profitable again, which I will cover in the studio vlogs. But this is what I'm thinking. And this, I feel like, I hope, is going to be the evolution of our brand. I've been trying to think of a way to move forward to get us sort of excited about things again, but also obviously a way that is profitable. So I do have to be careful, and I will need to put budgets in place to make sure that we're not just, buying loads of stuff without any kind of clear purpose in mind. So yeah, I thought that it was worth a long conversation, and I'd love to hear in the comments what your thoughts are. If you have a business, and if you've been running it for a long time, or if you haven't been running it for very long at all, have you had these same kind of thoughts about whether or not you want to change direction or, evolve into something slightly different? Because I do think, we change. When I started this business, oh my God, let me think, how old was I? I was 31 when I started the business, and I am now 44. So I'm not the same person I was over a decade ago. And I think that is important. And the whole point of having your own business is that you can make it what you want to be, and you can allow it to work for you. And that's what I want. I want my business to work for me. I don't want to work for my business. So here you are with me on this journey, and you can follow us through the studio vlogs and see whether or not we can achieve it. Thank you for watching and for your support. Your comments and likes and everything are always appreciated.